craziness like that, man. We woke up, we went to work, we spent time with families, we had dinner at the dinner table. There wasn't no phones that all the kids are like their faces are glued to and everything, man. It's just it's crazy, man. We need to come back together. We need to get rid of all this craziness.
Yeah, and I think that might be, with you saying that, I think it might be a good idea to have like some team building little competitions and stuff like that too, man. See if we can't get like a parent and a child fucking game going on, because some of this stuff is for the kids too. I mean, we got stuff from Monkey Joe's, we got stuff from the skating ring, we got stuff from the bowling alley. I mean, shit, man. Right here, this will tell you where we used. This will tell. I can almost guarantee anybody that's our age did this. Where'd you spend your time after schools in middle school? Where'd you go?
Well, I mean, growing up, dude, it was just the streets in the neighborhood, man. We went around and played with the kids around the neighborhood. We played street hockey, we played baseball, basketball, football, whatever we could do.
And outside the neighborhood, y'all ever go hang out at like the bowling alley or the skating rink?
Yeah, we did it every now and then. I was never really big into that myself personally. It was more, outdoor sports. But I mean, we had a lot of kids in the neighborhood and kids that I grew up with. We did a lot of that, and it was more of a privilege thing. We didn't do it all the time, so it was like whenever we got to go to things like the bowling alley or the skating rink or like an indoor bat cage, something like that. Like, we did that. It wasn't often, so it was more of like, you guys have been doing really good in school lately or something like that, and mom or dad would take us out with some friends.
Exactly. We did the same thing. Elementary school, it was all about the neighborhood, all about, your friends down the street. Get on the bikes and ride until fucking dark. When them street lamps came on, haul your ass home. Yep. But, middle school, we hung out a lot at the skating ring or the bowling alley. Of course, you went to skating ring, you really didn't skate. You was pretty much in the corner, face locked with some female. Just saying. I mean, you might have skated a little bit, maybe some slow songs or something like that. But, yeah, 9 times out of 10, you were back in the back, up against the wall where you had that little pylon that's kind of like halfway dividing sections. You were right up against it so nobody could see you. It's pretty epic. But, that's I think our generation might have been the last generation, man, that was born, that grew up with that type of environment, to where that's one of the reasons, I think one of the major reasons why our military careers were so successful at the same point. Because that's how our minds were. That's how we grew up. That's how our minds were trained, was to hang out and do stuff with people. And then we go in the military and it's just like, ooh, it's a playground for adults for a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. We get to hang out with all of our friends and shoot things. It's even better.
Well, shit. And that's the fun part. I mean, even though, yes, we're training for war, blah, blah, blah. You still got to have fun with it at some point in time. You can't be serious out 24/7. But,
of course.
I think it'll be dirt roads, bicycles, playing in the mud. Oh, yeah. I had my mud pie days. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, yeah. There's plenty of times where I came home and had to, take off the shoes, pants, and shirt before I came in the house.
Most definitely. That's, kids don't even hardly play outside anymore. They don't have the social skills. They grow up with anxiety and social solution situations. Yeah, I agree with you, Sean. I agree with you, man. I think that's one of the reasons why our kids are so stuck in that phone, to be honest. Yeah, I'd say I'm lucky that my kids aren't like that. My son growing up, he was an outside boy. Go outside, he'd play. Play with his friends and see pictures of him at the creek and out and about. And my daughter's the same way. If it's not raining outside, she's across the street with the neighbors and whatnot, ripping and running around. Thank the Lord. Thank God. Now, if it is to the point to where there's not really anything they can do outside, I don't mind the games and stuff. I really don't. I mean, we used to do the same shit, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, the thing is, man, it's all about regulating your time. It's all about regulating your kids' times, man. I mean, you got these kids nowadays that are so stuck on technology, because that's what they grew up on. And I get it. That's today's society. That's today's generation. You know, they were born into all this crazy technology that we obviously weren't born into. So they grew up with it. It's ingrained, and it's part of their life. It's part of their culture now,
Right.
which is fine. But it's got to be well regulated.
Yeah.
It's got to be watched. You know, my daughters, the youngest one's 2, so I don't have to worry about it with her quite yet. But my oldest is 5, and it's she has a little tablet, like a little iPad thing that she'll watch some cartoons and stuff on, like Netflix for kids or whatever. But the thing is, it's only a certain amount of time and certain times in the day. Usually it's, towards the end of the night, she's winding down, she's gotten ready for bed, she's already had her bath and everything. She'll watch a show or two on Netflix before she goes to bed. But like during the day, that doesn't fly, man. If she wants to play, she's either playing with her sister, she's playing with herself, or she's playing outside. That's it. I mean, it's not anything like she's stuck on a dang phone all day long. Like it,
Right.
and it's there's certain things that she has come across even on Netflix Kids that aren't age appropriate for her.
No.
That I will, come through and see, and then she's already very well versed in a lot of things, so she understands what's age appropriate and what's not. So I'll come through, see what look at what she's watching. Parents, go through their stuff, man. It's not their stuff. Go through your stuff that you gave to them. Watch, see what your kids are watching, see what your kids are doing on, if they're old enough to have social media. You need to have the account information for their social media accounts so you can go through and see what they're doing, see what they're talking about, see who they're talking to.
Oh,
you
yeah.
You never know who your kids are talking to online. I used to work on the SVU side for CID in the Army. There was a lot of things that through social media, people aren't who they say they are online. You never know who your kids are talking to. Hell, you never know what your kids are talking about. Look at the kid whose parents read their diary and turned them in the day after that school shooting. There may have been another school shooting if he didn't have nosy parents that got in their business to make sure they were doing the right thing. That those parents who did the right thing could have possibly saved a bunch of kids' lives. But, that's not on the news. The only thing that's on the news is the one that shot all the kids.
Right. And, and that's and that's the sad thing, that was one of the statistics that we brung up after we had talked to DC Benny on Friday. That's one of the things that we brung up was the shooting, and there has been 18 school shootings since the start of this year. And there's only been a couple that's been broadcasted out live. Number one, why the fuck are you even broadcasting that shit? Well,
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why there's only been a couple of them that have been broadcast live, because there haven't actually been 18 school shootings. So the whole 18 number on the 18 school shootings is a very inflated number.
Okay.
If you research into it, those 18 school shootings, people hear that in the news and they think, oh my God, there's been 18 times in 2018 so far, 18 times that somebody has come onto a school and shot up the school, right? That's what it seems like. But when you sit down and you really look into it and you dive into the research and see what exactly those school shootings entail, only, I think it was like 3 or 4 of them were somebody coming into the school with a weapon and shooting the school up and shooting and injuring, killing kids.
Right.
They're also including statistics in there about negligent discharges, accidental discharges. One of them was where a student came up to a school resource officer who was sitting down and hit the trigger on his weapon, and it fired that weapon into the ground. They included that into the statistics for school shootings for 2018. That's not a school shooting, that's a negligent discharge.
Right.
Or an accidental discharge. Another one that they included was an individual came into the school parking lot after school hours, outside of the hours of open for school. There's no kids anywhere around there. It's during the hours of darkness. He came into the parking lot and put a bullet in his head, killed himself. they label that as a school shooting. It's not a school
Right.
shooting.
No.
It's on the premises after hours, and it's an individual that decided to take their own life. There was no other injuries, no other harm, no property damage. But they included that in the school shooting statistics because it just so happened to be on school grounds. It's not a school shooting.
Yeah, that negligent discharge, why would you even have one in the chamber in the fucking school?
Well, I mean, it was a resource officer, so it was a trained law enforcement officer, so he's more than likely required to.
Well, shit, man. When the only time that we had shit in the damn chambers when we went outside the wire, or we had a local national duty where locals were coming on to the fob.
And it's a little bit different between. So if we want to talk military, it's a little bit different between different things. Now, active duty military. Let's play Army because that's what I was. That's what we were. When you're in the Army and you're holding your weapon, even when you're downrange, a lot of times when you're walking around the fob, a lot of times they tell you amber.
Yeah.
All right. So you got your magazine in the well and no round in the chamber. Well, when you go outside the wire, obviously go red, chamber around all day long.
Right.
Now, when you look at different MOSs, different jobs in the military, different MOSs that require carry have different requirements on how they carry. MPs, a lot of times they have actually different ones I've seen from different posts dealing with them. Most of the times they'll roll amber.
Right.
Unless if they're pulling up like if they've run somebody's plates and they've got a felony and they're doing a felony stop, they'll probably go ahead and chamber around because they're dealing with a known felon.
Right.
Now CID is a little bit different. Not only are we authorized, but we're required to carry hollow point rounds, and CID agents, per our regulations, if you're wearing your weapon is red. There is one in the chamber always. If your weapon's on your hip, if your service pistol is on your hip, there better be a round in that chamber. Because per regulations, we're required to carry one in the chamber because of I would assume it's our extensive shooting training, more than the average military law enforcement organization. Right. So we've got hopefully, I would say we would have higher skill in shooting than normal soldier stuff. We go through different trainings and stuff, but that's one of the requirements is when we roll with our weapons, we're rolling with one in the chamber, period. So some different departments and police departments, they might have that. They might be like, well, only roll amber until you have a felony stop, or if you're in a pursuit, or if you're in a foot chase, or if you have to exit your vehicle for some reason other than like a normal traffic stop or something like that, then go red. Some departments are like, screw it. When you're done with the on-call shift meeting and you go into your vehicle, go red. Like, some departments might say that, I don't know, but it all depends on what the department rule are wherever that individual is.
Right, and that makes a lot of sense for us being in the military. It still racks my head of why he would be in red in a school. Because my train of thought is kids are fucking curious. Even though it was an accident, still, what's to say it's going to stop that kid from coming up one day and just like, wonder what this will do, and just pull that trigger, even though it's in the holster. That's just my train of thought. Yeah. Kids are fucking curious. They're gonna.
And nowadays, I will agree with you. Nowadays, why that police officer had his weapon red on school grounds, I would disagree with, and I okay. See, this is where it's split kind of down the middle with me mentally here, because should he have a round in his chamber? Absolutely. Should he be ready to go? Cock lock, ready to rock, just in case something happened. Like with this most recent school shooting, the kid went to that school previously. He was previously expelled from that school. When he came in, he knew the school layout. Like I said, he had been to that school. He knew the layout. He knew everywhere to go. He knew that he came in at a time where it was going to be busy. He came in 20 minutes before they were going to let kids out, so they were going to be everywhere. It's not it's not a situation that it's a situation that you can prepare for. I have personnel that are trained and